Hey everyone, and welcome to a special episode number 53 of the Self-Publishing Roundtable, the podcast by indie authors for indie authors. I am your host, Wade Finnegan, and my co-hosts for this evening are Trish McAllen, Carl Sinclair, John Ward, and Kevin Michael. As you can see, there is no guest because this is a special episode. It is our birthday episode, technically, 53, 52.
And we're all drunk.
And we're all drunk.
And, well, I am. So, I don't know about you guys.
I mean, how else would we get Kevin to wear that hat? So
I figure it's 10 p.m. somewhere in the world.
It's not just the hat. I got the mask to go with it.
Ooh, mysterious. So yeah, we're going to kind of just talk a little bit about what we've learned or haven't learned over the past year, reflect on how the hell we got here and can't believe it's been a freaking year, and anything else that comes our way. Of course, we want lots of interaction from our live viewers, so pay attention to the comments tonight. You might get a chance to win a prize. Carl might visit your house. You never know. So
that's a thing. That could be happening.
Whether
you like it or not.
And also, Carl has a big announcement at the end of the show, so we'll wait for that too.
Huge announcement.
Because he is a tease, as it's already been mentioned in the comments. So, now, Carl, I'm going to throw it to you. I'm putting you on the spot. Didn't tell you this ahead of time, but you were kind of, I hate to admit it, because I hate to admit that anything you did was good, but you're kind of the mastermind that started this. You're like, hey, we should maybe, instead of just tweeting all the time about SPP, maybe we should do a show.
Just troll them. Yeah, should we just troll them on the air? That would be fun.
Yeah, so talk to us a little bit about those early days a year ago, Carl.
Well, yeah, I guess we used to watch the shows live, and that's how I met Wade and some of the others, Chrissy and Bill, and John a little bit. He wasn't quite as trollish as we were, but we were all tweeting away, and the Hangout idea came up, and we got together, and John joined in, and then we did the show kind of without really much of a plan, did we? Do you remember? And if you remember the first episode, which it's not on the website, but you can actually watch it on YouTube, and I did, and it's quite frightening. The day of the show, my power went out in my house, and
That's right.
I had no power except for in my garage. So I jimmied up I think I plugged in 4 extension cords from my garage, out of my garage, through the back of my house, up on stools in the back garden, so I didn't get electrocuted, and into the house, and I did the whole thing from my living room with the sun pouring in behind me, blinding us all.
I totally remember that.
and we chatted about SPP and that other show, and
that other show, yeah,
storytelling podcast and some other stuff, and we just kind of chatted for a while, and then all of a sudden, showing that we're ultra professionals that we were, in the middle of a sentence, it just cut off the live show, which was kind of funny because everyone was making fun of the SPRT thing, calling it SPRT, and yeah, it was fun times.
Yeah.
What do you remember about that first show?
Well, the fact that we didn't really know what the hell we were doing at all, except just talking about.
Because we do now.
Yeah, well, maybe yeah. We're just aping, just taking off of the other 2 shows, and basically I kind of think of us as just a bunch of fanboys and girls that got together, and it was very, very odd, but fun. I mean, that was the whole part of it. It was just about having fun and hanging out, and because the tweets were great with all the innuendo and everything else.
Yeah, there was hundreds of tweets that were going off. I'm surprised that we didn't crash the damn thing.
That's true.
Do you regret immediately joining once you got on that hangout?
No regrets. Can't have regrets. I mean, come on. I mean, how awesome is this? I mean, to be honest, though, not to get. Like I said in the email threads, we weren't going to get sappy tonight, right? No love fest here. But it's
gonna cry a little bit.
I might. But I'm a sensitive guy, unlike some others on this show. But just the fact that to meet some of these people, I mean, and to be able to talk to all these people has been just awesome. I mean, the author community, I had no idea that was this good. I mean, it really is. I mean, people are just so open and helpful, and it's just been and it all came from is watching a podcast, which is really, really cool. So, John, how about you? You were an early member. What do you recall? I think John actually. Let me say this. I think John said, "Hey, Wade," because I was following him on Google Plus. Hey, invite me in, because I think we were going to do it without John, and he actually sent me something on Google Plus and said, hey, "Invite me in." I said, oh, "Okay," and then that's how it all started.
Was he? He was e-begging. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, he was.
At the time, I didn't know Chrissy, and I hadn't met Carl or spoke to Carl, any of them. The only person I knew was Wade, and I was following him on Google Plus. That's mainly where I'd seen his posts. And I'd followed him on Twitter, but I hardly ever use Twitter. And I just happened to have been logged in on the day whenever they were having their formation discussion about starting the Self-Publishing Roundtable. And I replied into to one of the tweets because I seen where Carl was tweeting to Wade about this, and I said, I was making comments about ideas and things like that, and then I sent Wade a message on Google Plus saying, hey, I'd like to participate in this as well. And so that's how I got involved, and I've regretted the decision ever since. Credibility's gone down, all kinds of things. International arrest warrants out for me.
Okay, so you guys...
I've had to listen to more talk about cricket than any normal person should ever have to endure.
That's true. True. What were you going to say, Trish?
I was going to give you guys my impression as an outsider on your very first show, because I actually started watching you on your very first show, and I've been a fan of the self-publishing podcast, and I've been watching the storytelling podcast, and I accidentally stumbled across you guys because I was looking for more of the self-publishing podcast guys episodes, because I was looking on YouTube for them, and I stumbled across you guys, and I thought you were them at first, so I clicked on the first show thinking I was watching their first show, and it was like, what the hell? and then I really thought for the first couple of episodes that you guys were like a parody of them, like you were kind of.
Well, we did.
Like you were. Yeah, and so I mean, I watched just because I was trying to figure out what the heck you guys were doing, and then the personalities started clicking in, and it started getting really funny, and then I started watching just because it was fun. But I stumbled on you guys completely by accident.
Well, I was going to say, my first impression, I remember Trish coming along in the comments and stuff early on, but then I remember Kevin started showing up in the comments, and the motherfucker was trolling me, and I hated the shit out of that guy. I was like, fucking troll, like I'm the troll around these parts, like who are you?
I don't even remember trolling you at all.
Yeah, do you remember Trish? He was trolling me?
Yeah.
I think I even told Trish how mad I was. I was like, this guy, man, this fucking guy. So I was like, screw it. Like, we did the after parties fairly early on, I think. And I was like, fuck it, invite the guy in. He wants to troll. Like, I'm going to troll this guy for like hours in the after party. But he came in and we got to chatting and we got on pretty well, surprisingly, which surprised me. And everyone else left. I don't know if you remember that, Kevin, but we actually ended up chatting for like about 3 hours, I think, after everyone left the after party. It went for a long time.
I remember, all right.
And we've been best buds ever since, haven't we?
Well, I watched all the episodes, and when I first saw the first episode, I thought, man, these people got their shit together. And that Bill Dowis sure says a lot of shit on the show. And so I decided, you know what? I want to be the future Bill Dowis. Is what I decided. But I actually wrote a parody of the original show, and that's why I thought you invited me onto the after party. I didn't know it was for everyone.
So that kind of went on for about 10 weeks. We did that for like 10 weeks, right? And then we made a bit of a switch up in the format. We we stopped reviewing other shows. And surprise, everybody! We have some guests popping into the window.
Oh, look at that! Some past hosts.
Look who it is! It's Chrissy Moss and David Wright.
Hi.
Boom!
Hey, Chrissy.
Long time no see.
For those who don't know, Chrissy was with us from right at the beginning and left about the 32nd week, I think it was, Chrissy, somewhere around there.
Right. I blame Carl.
Yeah, that's all my fault. About 10 weeks in, we switched up the format and started to cover the news because we were kind of all into that, and we'd started briefly discussing it on those episodes. And episode 10 was special in that David Wright joined us from the Self-Publishing Podcast, didn't you, Dave?
Yes, I did. And that was the beginning of the end.
Yeah, so technically he is the one to blame for all this shit, because if he hadn't been with Johnny and Sean, none of this would have happened. So, as always, it all comes back to Dave.
What was your first impressions of the show, Dave, being that we were essentially parodying / trolling you?
I didn't get the impression you were trolling us so much.
Well, not trolling. Everything I do is a troll.
Trying to woo me over to your show because you were in love with me. My first and wanted to capture me and put me in your basement.
We wanted to be your Johnny.
Yeah, my first impression of the show is, why are these guys wasting time talking about two other shows? They should do their own show. And I'm glad to see that you guys are doing that.
Well, we were wasting time talking about your show anyway, so we figured, why not stick it online?
Yeah, that's true.
We were spending a lot of time on Twitter prior to that we should have been doing other things.
So we switched up formats, and we started talking about the news, and that's around about when Trish started to get involved as well. Bill left about the 12th episode, I think, Bill Dowis. And
mysteriously vanished.
Yeah, he mysteriously vanished. And Trish had been feeding me news stories by email for a while, even though there was a contact form that she was specifically supposed to do it on, but no one has ever done that. No one ever actually sent me an email via that, even though it's there. It's still there, actually, but still I've never had an email. And Trish was feeding us news, and then Bill left, and Trish knew a lot of people, and she knew a lot about what was going on in self-publishing, so that's when we brought you in. Can you remember your excitement about being asked to join the show, Trish?
Oh, yeah. I was ecstatic, yeah. Yeah, it was, by that point the show had really evolved, and it was starting to cover stuff that I was really interested in. So I was happy to come on board and start talking about the news.
Trish, let me ask you a question. You've signed a traditional deal with Amazon Publishing. You've sold, I don't know how many thousands of books. You're a successful romance author. Would you say that being invited to join SPRT was more exciting than all of your past successes combined?
I would say that would be like a vast overstatement.
Just slightly.
Just a little bit.
It was kind of like it was kind of like this little burp on my, publishing career.
Would you say it's one of the biggest mistakes you've ever made in your publishing career?
No, I wouldn't go that far. I would honestly say that it probably has made absolutely no difference in my publishing career.
And that's our goal for every episode, folks.
That's right.
No difference in your life as an author at all.
There you go.
Making zero difference each and every week. You're welcome.
That's our
That is our
tagline.
goal.
We need to put that on the website.
Your new tagline.
There's quite a few. I was just going to bring attention. I guess the one thing that we've always really focused on was making the show quite interactive with people, and I think that's why people keep coming back. We've run the after parties, but also we've always been pretty keen on doing focusing on the live aspect. And whilst we eventually moved to audio and stuff, we've always kind of focused on that live aspect, especially once we started the website with Live Fire, and it's continuing as always. 30-odd people there. A lot of newer people that have showed up in more recent weeks. People like Erica Conroy and Michelle Reed are there, Tucker. We've got the likes of Mimi Strong, who's been a guest on the show, and Jay Thorne there today, and Zoe York, who's also been a guest on the show. But we've got some people that are stuck with us for a long time around. Melissa Donovan, who hasn't been able to watch live for a long time, she's there today. We appreciate those people that have always come back. I think Melissa started watching early on, like the first or second or early on in the show. So it's really good to see that we've had that sort of community around us for a long time.
I think a huge part of the show's success is the fact that Carl sleeps with each and every audience member's mothers individually. And that really helps.
That does.
It does help.
We appreciate that too.
It's been expensive, flying around the world, but
the woes of a first-class gigolo.
For those of you wondering, that's where Carl "Say Hi to Your Mums" comes from.
Yeah.
Hey, great segue.
If you're ever wondering why your mum's in like a particularly good mood, it's because, now you know.
Speaking of that, Carl, if that's something that you guys really like, guess what you can do now? I'm going to try to do a bad ad spot like Dave does on his show.
You're succeeding already.
Thank you.
Hey, that awkwardness takes a lot of I don't even know.
A lot of work.
Yes.
Because there is
a lot of courage.
Yes.
I'm going to make the announcement officially. SPRT swag available for purchase, and one of them is "Say Hi to Your Mums" for me, because that's a great tagline. So we are going to give away a little bit of that tonight. I think Carl is going to do something with that in the comments.
Well, I just did. I put up the first one as a little surprise secret post. I said the first person to reply to this comment with "The reason why you love me" will get the first prize. It's actually John.
No, it was Jay.
It was Jay.
Was it?
Yeah. Jay.
Okay. Jay gets our first prize. Now we're going to let you guys choose. We got T-shirts. We got bumpers.
No, I think it's Jay, and it's Jay didn't actually hit reply, did he? I think he maybe hit reply to yours. We'll give one to Jay and one to Michelle, because it's hard to see who was actually the fifth. So, yeah, there's two.
There you go. Two. All right. Two for the
What are we giving them?
Yeah, and you would throw that link in there to the Cafe Press if anybody's interested in helping out the show a little bit, I guess. You can
throw it in there right now.
I would like to say I think you're missing a very, very obvious segment of your market by not having SPRT sex toys.
Well,
that's going to be sold under a different website, Dave.
Oh, okay. Just make sure you don't want to miss. You don't want to leave any money on the table.
We're not going to do that. You know us, Dave. We're whores like that.
You know how much it would cost to manufacture those things?
No, John.
Have it manufactured in China.
Well, I was going to say that if you have any second-hand ones that you'd like to donate that we could resell.
Oh my word!
I do have Claire, can you donate?
No.
Wait. What kind of dungeon does Dave have after all?
Like you don't know.
So I guess
I'm glad I could
Chrissy,
come back to ruin the class of the show that you've.
We never got to say goodbye when you had to leave the show, so this is your opportunity to give your big farewell, at least for the time being. And
see, yeah, Dave's
Chrissy,
got like the bad girlfriend or boyfriend. He just keeps coming back.
Yeah.
He's like, you never quite get rid of him.
I can't quit you all.
So, being Chrissy's here, Chrissy, what are your fond memories of those early days and being on the show?
Just hanging out, chatting with friends. That was my favorite part. And yeah,
you don't. I was going to say, do you have fond memories of trolling John with Flash Fiction in those early days?
Oh, that was fun. That's like one of my most favorite pieces now. It's the Little Leaf short story that's free on my website if anybody wants to read it. just because
Cheap plug.
John said you can't write any flash fiction that's good. Well, I think
there you go. Proven John
yeah,
wrong.
So for those who don't know, early on, flash fiction got brought up, and I don't know if John did know, maybe he did, that Chrissy wrote pretty much exclusively flash fiction back then.
At that time.
Flash fiction's terrible. No one can write good flash fiction. And then Chrissy was like, I write flash fiction. And this kind of awkward silence happened. And then, being that we're the good friends that we are, we then spent several weeks trolling John about flash fiction. And even did a contest. Do you remember the contest?
I do. I still have nightmares about it.
Well, he specifically said that all flash fiction was about angsty teenagers and pretty leaves, and so I made it specifically about a pretty leaf.
And let me say, though, as much as I don't like flash fiction, that was a good story. This pretty leaf story. I wouldn't buy it, but it was good.
It is for free on my website.
Well, so we did. We ran the flash fictions contest, and it was actually pretty popular for our early days. And I was musing beforehand, wouldn't it be fun for an anniversary to run another one, being that it's been nearly a year since we did one? So I'm going to set that up on the blog, where you can go and read the interviews that Kevin's been doing over there, and me ranting about ideas being cheap. But yeah, so we're going to do another flash fiction contest, and the details will be over the blog. I don't know.
Let me tell you a funny story about flash fiction. About 2 months ago, I had an idea. You know, if you know me at all, you know that I'm very active on Google+. And I have a big writing community there, and I was trying to think of things that writers could do to attract readers to their personal profiles. And so I had an idea. Let's start a movement where everyone posts a single scene from whatever they're writing or something they've published or have written in the past, a single scene on Saturdays, and we'll all use the same hashtag called Saturday Scenes. And so I set it up. We've had thousands of people post stories, and we've been in the trending and the what's hot for Google Plus and all this big response. And as I've done it over these weeks, I've tried to pay attention to what type of posts generate the most comments, and what are the best practices that you can use whenever you're posting fiction to social media to get people to respond. And one of the things I've found is tends to be like an upward limit of around 1,000 words that people will read, that most people will read and comment on. If you can get it down to about 500 words, that's even better. But 1,000 words you're still pretty good. And so I've been sharing this information with people. One day it dawned on me. I said, you know, I'm encouraging all these people to post flash fiction. But
yeah, we tend to hate on the things we really love, huh, John?
Yeah.
Apparently, that's why I hate you so much, Dave.
Bastard.
I've actually used that Saturday scene to post an entire short story, which was like under 1,000 words. So.
Actually, Chrissy, I think that you could use Saturday Scenes to post entire anthologies that you've written.
Wow.
All in 750 words.
I miss these days.
Hey, Chrissy just finished her first full-length novel. I think everyone should give her a hand.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Just working on the edits now. Yay.
What's it called and when's it out?
What was that?
What's it called? When's it out?
Is it
Mermaid's Curse.
Okay.
It's I guess high fantasy, lots of magic and intrigue and acolytes trying to sacrifice people and stuff.
Didn't John also say nobody writes mermaid stories?
Yeah.
You have a release
That have inspired your entire career, Chrissy.
Not everything. Well, why not? You know, Johnny and Sean have made a career out of Dave's bad ideas, so why not?
He's got a point.
Hey, Chrissy, can you explain the title to me?
Mermaid's Curse?
Yeah, is it because the mermaid was cursed, or because she runs around cursing all the time?
The first half of the book is about how the curse happened, and the second half is how to break the curse. So, and it's a curse that's put onto the mermaid.
And when's the release date?
Not for a while. I'm about halfway through it for the edits, and so it's life is complicated, and throwing in editing on top of life with all the other stuff going on takes a bit.
Plus, it's over 100,000 words, so there's a lot more editing to do.
What
I said, 80 million flash fiction stories.
It's at 81,000 words right now. It'll probably be about 84 when I'm done. Because I'm right now going in and adding the details that I missed, adding names of places and things that I didn't know at the time, and it's complicated.
Yeah.
I was going to say, I sent out some emails to some previous guests to see if they wanted to show up and troll us in the comments.
Melissa Donovan.
Carry on.
Melissa Donovan made a comment in here saying that her favorite moment was your anti-pants rant. And I would love it if you would go into that again.
I will. I was just going to say, so I sent these emails out, and Johnny Bichurin, who was on with Dave and Sean from FTP a while ago, I said, send us your thoughts and memories of being on SPRT, Johnny. And he emailed me saying, I loved being on SPRT and listening to Carl talk about cricket, curry, and soggy biscuits. There was also some book talk going on, I think. I just remember thinking how I left feeling excited about Manchester United winning a meat carnival or something like that. So I'm glad that you were paying a lot of attention during the episode, Johnny. I was probably looking at it.
Well, for Johnny, it's like
in the hangout window. Yeah, that's true.
He's got horses to take care of it gone.
The anti-pants rant that Melissa's talking about, man, did I get some backlash from that. I still can't even talk about why I did it, so it still makes me look like a complete arsehole, but I went off.
We're still waiting for the video of you with no pants on, with just tights on.
Yeah, that's true.
You're waiting.
You got 53 hours of it already, Chrissy. Anytime you watch this show.
I guess what happened was there was an incident in my workplace that really frustrated me, which I can't discuss. But as a result of that, I brought it up and said, look, it really annoys me that girls walk around in tops with no pants and they just wear tights and they think that's okay to wear pants. There's a good reason for it, but it still makes me sound like a douche. But it wasn't supposed to be. There's a legitimate reason why it was an issue. And Dave, being the very good friend that he's become over the last year, just really attacked me on it and made me look even more like an asshole. And as a result, I got a lot of backlash from people like Melissa Donovan and Mary Eiler, if you remember her, and a bunch of others who just trolled me about it for ages. So yeah, I'd completely forgotten about it. So thanks for bringing that up, Melissa.
He was just starting to salvage his reputation with women.
Oh, I think that's not going to happen ever, but people were trolling him about the pants issue anymore until probably now.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I guess I did promise Melissa that I was going to do a YouTube video of me wearing one of my geek shirts with tights on and dancing and singing to Footloose. So I guess I'll have to do that at some point.
No, you don't. Really don't. You don't have to. Really.
Well, you can. Yeah, it's happening. Right.
Well, one of my favorite videos of Sean is the one where he's doing Lady Gaga. So, I don't know. I think you might get a lot of hits on it.
Okay.
He broke his iMac when he did that.
Did he?
Or was it his MacBook? One of his computers he broke because he was
he broke both of my corneas as well.
and he brought it to the Mac store to to get this screen replaced, and even though it was just out of warranty, they actually fixed it for him, and he was all happy. I was really pissed about that because I want him to hate Mac because I hate so many things that it does. So he's like Mr. I love Mac, and I'm like, it doesn't do anything right. I mean, it does a few things, but a lot of things just annoy the hell out of me, and he made me get one. So
he made you get.
He forced you, Dave.
He held a gun to his head.
Well, at the time when we were doing Scrivener, it was a Mac only thing, and it helped us. It helped our workflow. We were using ScreenFlow for like videos and stuff for client work. So it made sense, but it just drives me nuts because it's so opposite of how Windows works. And I was really hoping they wouldn't replace his Mac. Then he'd go out and get a Windows machine. But no, they replaced it for free, and I was like, damn it.
That's what I do like about Mac. I can just walk in and go fix this, and they do.
Yeah. Well, my laptop died. My MacBook, which is actually behind me, and that was out of the warranty as well. And I brought it in, and they were like, "Well, we fixed it a year ago. Maybe we didn't fix it properly. Here's a brand new hard drive. Sorry about that, sir. And it'll be ready in 2 days." And I brought it on my lunch break, and then like 2 hours later, they were like, "It's fixed. Come and get it. We love you."
I just know if that happened to me, if I was like even an hour off my warranty, they'd be like, "Nope, sorry, fuck you, buddy."
And you owe $70.
There's the Dave I love. Always so happy.
And then they like grab the Mac out of your hands and just throw it on the ground and stand on it and just go, "Get out."
And then hit me over the head with it. Yeah.
So do we have some more fun stories? I think Melissa. You know what? I think Melissa Donovan deserves a prize for bringing up the Tide story.
There you go.
Trying to make it up to her.
That's how he did win a prize in the show. I did want to talk about the irony of what Chrissy is doing, because we started off basically just talking about SPP and STP. Then she came on our show. Now she is
on STP.
STP. This is an incestuous group. I'm just waiting for some of that. So it's like.
The one thing I can say is it has improved a lot since I've been on it.
Whoa. Has your humility improved a lot too?
What?
Has your humility improved a lot too?
I didn't remember you being so humble.
Even Garrett and Zach say it's improved, and that's mostly because I made them stick to a time and a date. We haven't been able to last few weeks because of different things going on in our lives off the camera, but it's much better that we do stick to a time and date.
Yeah, I think we've almost caught you guys on episode numbers. Aren't you guys in the 50s?
know, right? No,
there was that vaunted Wednesday afternoon podcast yesterday.
Yeah, because Zach's out of his house and staying somewhere else, so he has to do them in the afternoon. So we have to adjust our schedules, and I have work, and so yeah, it's all kinds of messed up right now.
Was Zach kicked out of that bathroom he was filming in front of for so long?
I was gonna say, I think Zach just goes on Airbnb and just couch surfs.
I know. I have no idea. Although Zach is getting married now.
Hooray!
Oh, so why is he kicked out of the house?
I don't know.
He travels a lot, though, right? He's always like in
Yes,
different
he does.
bathrooms behind him. Like it's.
What the hell is he
every time I see him,
traveling so much?
I don't know. I thought he was a teacher, but I think maybe he's
He's no
retired or
teacher.
something.
Come on.
He runs around the country getting kids to take pictures holding their own teachers.
Congratulations, ZC Bulger. And what's the website? It's for those who don't know. Is it thestorytellingpodcast.com or
I think it's just storytellingpodcast.com.
She's never been there.
I don't think anybody goes there. Everybody just looks it up on YouTube.
We did start the whole tweeting bomb of @CC Bulger, right? And then Dave picked it up and put it on to SPP. So that
I thought I started it long before.
I don't know which of us started it, but we kept it going.
Yeah, we blew it up a couple of times. It was.
Remember that time where when he came back and he had something like 1,000 notifications because someone on one of the podcasts said, "Everyone tweet @ZC Bulger with your complaints."
That was
Yes.
us, and David was part of that. He was with us when we did it.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
So let us just let us just go over this for a moment and analyze what we're saying here. The two best memories we have of SPRT are when we pissed off women and when we pissed off CC Bulger.
There you go. That pretty much sums it up.
Well, I didn't want to take it too
Well,
serious.
we're getting to it. I was going to say after I think it was episode 29 is when we sort of shifted again, didn't we? We moved into doing the interviews that people probably know us from now. And we spoke to Brenna Aubrey and then Teresa Reagan, and in those early days it was Darren Wehrmouth and Hugh Howey, and after that we kind of just became that show and dropped the news.
Right.
And things got a little bit more serious more often, I guess. But I've really enjoyed that time. That was about when you left not long after that, didn't you, Chrissy? A few of those.
I left right after the Hugh Howey interview. I don't do interviews well.
What was it about Hugh Howey that made you want to leave?
It was me.
What do you have? What's your problem with Hugh Howey?
It was. I absolutely love Hugh Howey, and I think he's amazing, and he's doing wonderful work. And the fact that I couldn't say 2 words to him without flubbing over my tongue just made me realize that I can't do interviews. It's not in my character. So.
I do want to make.
Plus, we changed the time as well, didn't we? And that was a problem for you.
You did change the time also.
I do want to make a side note. If Melissa, she just won an SPRT item. If you could perhaps, I didn't see it on the Cafe Press page, but if you can make an SPRT pair of pants for her, I think that would be appropriate.
I can do that.
They hide your mom's for on her butt.
There you go.
SPRT.
Oh, there. SPRT right across the butt.
Oh, gosh.
Underneath it'll be here.
Careful.
Melissa Donovan said, "Yeah, Chrissy keeps STP in line." So
I try.
It doesn't help talking about.
Sorry.
Oh, Trish, go. You haven't heard much from Trish.
Well, I was going to just give my favorite memory of the interviews would be the one with Brenna Aubrey and Courtney Milan on the translations. For those of you guys that have been to the after parties, you know that the chat window is actually usually more active than the actual hangout, audio is. So on the Courtney Milan and the Brenna Aubrey one, they had this incredible suggestive thing going on in the chat window about John Ward's Spider-Man. And it had... And nobody in the live show could see this because it was in the chat window, which is not visible to the live viewers. But it had Brenna just absolute in stitches. She was trying so hard not to laugh, it looked like she's going to have a heart attack. And through the entire thing, Courtney was just totally ignoring it. She knew it was all going on, but if she never cracked a smile, she would glance at it and just keep a totally straight face. And I think it was one of the funniest things I've seen.
Yeah, once we realized that Brenna couldn't stop laughing, then that's when we sort of decided, you know what, we're professional kind of guys, we'll just make her laugh even more. So we were just getting worse and worse in the chat.
And then Kristen Harbour.
Kristen Harbour, that was hilarious. She even snorted on air, which was just really, that was classic.
We love Kristen. And Darren, meeting Darren for the first time and building the Carl and Darren ongoing Soggy Biscuit trolls around the world. That was a beginning of a beautiful friendship. Unfortunately, Darren's in Italy eating pizzas with fries on it at the moment.
Who says that's unfortunate?
I know it's not unfortunate for him.
I would love to be in Italy right now.
I just would like to say that every time Carl and Darren show up on Better Off Undead, I just know it's going to be horrible. Not funny, yes, and I'll watch it anyway, but terrible.
It's like a train wreck. You can't keep your eyes off of it as much as you want to turn away.
The last time that we showed up, Darren had been drinking, and so had I, even though we're in completely opposite time zones, which should warn you something about the two of us. And yeah, I got accused of being baked from several of your viewers, Dave. Which I wasn't. I just had the flip. I did. but I was just a bit drunk. But
I will say I'm better off undead. There is one technical. Yeah, I love having Carl and Aaron on at the same time, but whenever we do, there's also seem to be more lag and glitches and talking over one another. I think the fact that one's in the UK and one's in Australia and both have shitty internet connection really screws up the show.
Yeah, it does.
So we might just have one or the other on. We'll make them fight.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. But yeah, I mean, coming from that interview has changed everything that I'm kind of doing. Darren and I are actually writing a book together now, and that's going to be coming out before the other stuff that I was working on. So, I mean, that's one thing from the show that's come about. I piggyback off on someone else's success. So.
That's right. Just ride those coattails.
No, I mean, I've made some really long-lasting friendships since being on the show. Not just with you guys, but from guests. Dave and I are mates, from my part anyway.
I love you, Carl.
I love you too.
I'm contractually obliged to say that, but yes.
We're gonna try to get sappy here, guys. Come on now.
But like Darren and I are like really good friends now. Kristen Harvard just showed up. Hey, Kristen, and I love Kristen to pieces. And I've met some really good friends, people like Melissa and Demelza Carton, who's in the comments. She actually lives in Perth, and I got to meet her for real, which was really cool. People like Michelle Reed, who is very shy and doesn't talk very much, but she's lovely, and she's a fairly recent person to join us in the after parties, and she's really nice. So it's been cool to meet these people and to get to know some of them. So I have all of the joking aside, like it's been a pretty positive experience in the last year for me anyway.
Yeah, I would agree with that totally. Like I said, I try not to get too sappy, but it's kind of like with Dave, with Johnny and Sean. Carl's kind of become a thing in my household. Like it's weird. But like my son will say, okay, well, what's Carl up to? What's Tweet Carl, or whatever, that sort of thing. And it's my Australian friend, which I don't know why, but he's just like really fascinated with that and stuff. So it's kind of interesting. So, but I do agree, Carl. It's been really cool just getting to know people, like all of you guys. I mean, just getting to know people in the writer community it's just been awesome. I never would have thought that this would get this close of connection through my computer. So that's really
You've
cool.
never been to Pornhub.
No, I have not. Dave, you want to put a link in the chat for me here?
And that connection goes on even when you're not around, Wade. You just don't realize that I've set up light surveillance throughout your house.
Considering how often we talked about dinosaur porn, I'm surprised he hasn't been to Pornhub.
Well, we've never talked about it live on the show.
Yeah, that's an after party.
Well, we have now.
For any of those of you who haven't been to an after party, guess what? That's what we talked about. Well, there's been some other really interesting ongoing tropes that have showed up from those after parties. Which
The after party should be recorded. That should be.
Sometimes, yeah.
Some of those.
Other times they should be forgotten.
Well, it's kind of recently become the Jay Chastain show in the after parties, where he drinks a shitload of juice and gets hammered. And last week, for those who don't know, was really interesting. You should definitely come to one. Mimi Strong actually kind of gave him a counseling session on his behavior for a good hour.
Okay.
It was so great. It was the best ever.
And she nailed it. She nailed absolutely his entire personality in 25 words.
So it was an intervention last week.
It was.
It kind of turned into one, actually.
It's interesting.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Carl, I think we should give away one more piece of swag before it gets onto the.
How many have we given away? We're giving away 3. 1 to Jay, 1 to Michelle, 1 to Melissa. What else are we gonna do? And I got to get to my big announcement. Awesome.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know. What? Anybody got a question they could throw out or something you want to put in the comments or?
Okay.
Well, yeah.
What was the last word that Bill Dallas said?
Like trivia?
Yeah.
The last word, Bill Dallas.
Yeah, do you remember how much of a talker he was when he was on. I did invite Bill, but it doesn't look like he's going to make it.
I think he said he was working.
It's not like we're being a dick. I did invite him. Yeah, he said he was at work and he would try.
Oh, Bill's a great guy, but he just
he is.
Yeah, we love Bill. He's just not a big talker.
No, which is kind of weird for a podcast. But
I think the last word Bill said was, "Hi, I'm Bill Dowis."
That was episode 1, and then he left.
Minute 2.
12 episodes later. We love Bill.
The name of Bill Dallas's girlfriend.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, that's right. Do you remember that when I got actually embarrassed for the first time as Bill Dallas's girlfriend hit on me on the show? So that was
what?
Do you remember that episode?
Was that in the show or was that after the show?
No, that was live on the show. That was like episode like
John,
4
do you know
or
Bill Dallas's girlfriend's name? Because that could be a good question if someone could actually remember that, because I have no idea.
No, but I can make one up for you if you like.
Oh.
No, what she said was, she walked past and I don't think she realized that we were alive or something. And then Bill was like, "Say hello," and then she said something like, "Carl Sinclair's my favorite," and like winked at me or something, and I got like really embarrassed. It was like the first time that I haven't.
That's a lie.
It was like the first time I haven't been able to talk, and people know how much I love my voice.
But then the doctors changed his medication, and that problem went away.
Yeah, and then I went back to being who I am.
Did she finish the sentence? My favorite serial killer?
Stalker.
Yes, stalker.
Mimi Strong in the comments just said, disclaimer, Mimi Strong is not a licensed therapist. Do not trust her with your brain stuff.
I really think that Mimi Strong needs some more pseudonyms.
She does. Mimi Strong, a.k.a. Dahlia Moon, a.k.a. T-Paul.
Decoy names?
Decoy names.
He's got more decoy names.
Yeah,
AKA does not use a treadmill.
That's a good question. What model of phone does Dave use for his decoy phone?
Did he talk about that on our show? Is that on our show?
I may have.
I don't think so. You were trying to keep it, secret in case somebody might be able to track down who your provider was and find your account number.
I think I bitched about it. I know I didn't give out the model anywhere, but yeah, I think I bitched about it. Maybe. I don't know.
Well, another person we haven't mentioned is Buddy Gott, and he was watching us from very early on, and then obviously went on and did his own shows. He's done Buddy's writing show that's going from strength to strength.
Dave was recently on that
Crash.
show.
Yeah, he did, Dave's new book Crash. He interviewed him, and Buddy kind of was one of the early fans who's gone on to be famous for his hair and face online.
Did Buddy?
And he took it a step further. Buddy interviewed a woman on his show, and all of a sudden, several months later, is now engaged to her. I never did anything like that.
So Buddy owes, that his happiness to you all.
Yeah, that's right. His happiness is off the back of us spurting on him. So.
Boy, that was classy there, Carl.
Yeah, way to
See what I did there? You see what I did there? Well, we're gonna give away 2 more things. Like, what are we?
I love how subtle Carl is. Australian humor is the opposite of British humor.
Yeah, that's true. It's more like American humor. It's being that we're saying things that are because I guess the whole thing is that we've never really tried to be big self promoters and talk about us and stuff. It's all been more about the news and then the guests and what they can share with people. But we did a little bit today because we never do. So I started another podcast called Myth Builders, which is with another one of our early viewers, Nicholas Kaler, and Ari Lessiers, which you guys may know out there. She's been around in the comments and hangs around on Twitter, and she was also on Better Off and Dead, I think, wasn't she, Dave?
NSP.
NSP.
Yeah.
Yeah, Ari's really good on that podcast.
It's mythbuilders.com, and it's the 3 of us talking about fantasy tropes. So if you're a fantasy or science fiction fan.
Your first episode was about cartoon animals you'd like to have sex with. Come on.
No, it wasn't. The trope was about uplifted animals in fiction. And
you said Bugs Bunny, right?
It turned into Animal Crushes. The intention.
Then it turned into a Calvin and Hobbes argument, is what it really turned into.
Well, they were just dead wrong.
But I really like that show. It's like 20 minutes long, so if anyone wants to check it out, mythbuilders.com.
It is good.
Thank you, David.
Okay, and then for all of you guys that don't know, Dave just released a book here, I think, this past Monday, didn't you, Dave? Can you tell everybody a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's called Crash. It is the most depressing story ever. And
Way to sell it.
It does have beautiful hope in it.
I love a few reviewers have said, you know, they cried or they were depressed, and I'm like, oh, cool, that's awesome. It's a story about what?
I bought it exactly for that reason, is because you keep saying it's the most depressing story ever, and I'm like, if Dave thinks it's depressing with all the other things he says, then I have to see what this is all about.
Well, it's not the most it's the most depressing thing I've written. It's not like Sophie's Choice depressing, but it's the most depressing thing I've written. And it's a story about a writer who loses his child in a car crash, and he has amnesia for 6 months prior to the accident because of a head injury. And he's basically obsessed with taking photographs of crash scenes to try to trigger the memories. And while he's going through the photos, he sees a specific person in the background of the photos at like every crash scene he's at. And that sort of begins the mystery of what's really going on.
It's a great book. I've read it and finished it. It will really make you feel the story. It's a good read.
Did you go on antidepressants after it, or?
Look at John being all serious. And
I told my wife to lock up the razor blades and hide all the medication.
I actually vomited, and it wasn't I'm sure it's a coincidence, but I was sick at the time, and when I read it, I did vomit at the end of the book, but it wasn't because of the book.
Oh, can I use that on the book jacket? So good, I vomited.
It was so good, it made me vomit.
I think you're missing a good opportunity, Dave. You need to follow it up with a romance called "I Hate You Not."
Okay, so I've put out another comment on the site too, and Dave and I can attest to this. The question is, how many times during a week did Dave and I send rant emails to one another? So people are having a guess now. It's probably a lot, right, Dave? Like, there's quite a few.
I don't know, a few million.
My most recent one was about what's his name, Michael Bay.
You know, Johnny on SPP always talks about, you know, how he's very prolific, like, you know, 5,000 to 10,000 words a day, and I'm like at a measly, you know, 2,000 to 3,000 words a day. But they don't get the fact that like 6,000 words a day go to Carl.
It's probably true. Like,
Carl,
Are we sure these are rants and not love letters?
It's a little both.
Yeah.
Carl's collecting them all, I'm sure, for some book someday.
Hey, well, what happens is, like, I'll see something that annoys me, and I'll try and tell my wife, and she'll be like, "Go away." So I'm like, I know who will appreciate this, and then I'll just write it out. And then I'll just be sitting at work or something, and all of a sudden I get like a notification, and this is David Wright, and I open it. It's like 2 pages of, you know, stuff
going off.
Hey, Carl, we're just past an hour. I want to remind you about the big announcement.
I haven't forgotten. It's important. So there's. I'm just going to pick someone. 14 a day. That sounds about right, doesn't it, Dave? Zoe York.
Sure.
Zoe York's the winner of a prize.
Woohoo, Zoe!
So is there going to be an after party?
Yeah, we're going to do an after party today.
I will take people's invites and start one up.
All right. So if you want in on the after party, leave your email address in the comments.
Yeah,
I'll hang out for a little bit. If
that
that scares anyone away, I apologize.
I will write after party, and you have to reply there.
All right.
Okay, so
Pretty
it's
cool.
time, I suppose. A couple of things. Next week we will be back to normal with interviews. Who's on next week?
Deanna Chase, right?
Deanna
I
Chase.
believe so.
Yeah, Chase, and then I can't remember. We gotta get that calendar thing.
We've got a lot. We've got a lot of people booked, so we're back
Yes.
to interviews next week. As always, please do probably not in this one, but please do give us a thumbs up on the YouTube video, and maybe a review on iTunes. That's always appreciated. And,
I want to take a second to say thank you to each and every one of you, because I do appreciate you all, and I even you, Carl. Yes, but thank you for doing this with me, and hopefully we can do another anniversary show. And I can't believe a year went by already. So.
And thank you to our viewers.
Yes.
Thank you. We love you all. Well, all 240 comments, and there's 40 of you, I think.
And I would like to say that I think you guys are doing awesome. Since I left, I mean, you were doing well before then. Why leaving up? No, Kevin's a great addition to the show, as was Trish when she came on. Wade is really shining his role, and John, he's quiet and he's like the nicest guy in the world, but then he'll just say like the meanest, funniest thing, and it's like perfect.
He does have beautiful timing.
And Carl,
nothing to say about me.
Awesome as a ringleader.
I want to say thank you for not kicking me off yet. You've had multiple chances.
Well, you're doing like a lot more work than I ever put in, so.
Yeah, we can't get rid of you now.
Yeah, Chrissy's right. Kevin needs a light.
Yeah.
I don't want you to see where I live. You may want to show up.
All right. Well,
I will show up. I want to go there.
Being I have this big announcement to do, I guess I'll quickly say, as always, say hi to your moms for me. And now it's time. I know you've all been waiting for the big announcement.